Hey guys, Drifter here, welcome to Ghost in Depth. In today's episode, we'll be reviewing the Ameli light machine gun. I've got some good gameplay for you, going to be showing off two different classes in this episode. One is an aggressive rapid fire class with all the speed perks, and one is a very defensive thermal sight class. I managed to do very good in both of them, and I'm going to be going over the stats of the Ameli, which is a big, heavy, tanky light machine gun, but you can do a couple of different things with it and showing off the different gameplays. First up, let's talk about the damage on the Ameli. It is a two-shot to kill weapon in close quarters combat, but dropping off to 4 at a distance. That's because the damage profile is such that you deal 50 damage per shot up close, but after a couple meters it'll drop down to 30 damage, which will require 4 shots to kill because players in Call of Duty have 100 total health. Headshots grant you 1.4x bonus damage. Unfortunately, this won't get you one of those beautiful one-shot headshots like marksman rifles, but at longer ranges it will definitely help you kill faster, also give them more flinch and that sort of thing. So the question you're probably wanting to ask me is, what is the two-shot kill range of the Ameli? Well, the two-shot kill range of the Ameli is 13 meters, and if you don't know what 13 meters looks like, I would highly recommend you go back one episode and check out the TAC 12 in depth, because I showed you the exact range in that episode. And the 3-shot kill range is 36 meters, so that's probably your optimal range. 36 meters is a long range engagement in Call of Duty, but even at maximum range it only goes down to 4, and with one headshot it'll still be 3 shots to kill, so it's very, very effective. It's high damage, long range, excellent weapon. Unfortunately, it does have a few downsides. One of those downsides is a low rate of fire. It only fires at 631 RPM. There are people with trigger fingers considerably better than this. This is not a fast firing weapon. Even when you put rapid fire on it, it's only going to go up to about 780, 770, something like that. It's not really like a huge gain, though it does help, and that is only to balance, because if you had a 2-shot kill weapon that shot crazy fast, well, that would just be dangerous, because the time to kill on this weapon is fast to moderate depending on your range. If it shot any faster, it would just be absurd, but in close quarters combat, in that 13 meter range, it kills very quickly. That 1-2 kind of combo, kind of like the MSBS, but you know, it doesn't shoot that fast. Very, very dangerous, kills people very quickly if you get your first 2 in a row, and as you move out, it goes more to a moderate time to kill. Some people would argue that it's a slow time to kill at long ranges, but I found it to perform fairly well, even compared to other weapons at long range, so I doubt you'll have a problem in the time to kill department. One of the other downsides is that the recoil is high. Mathematically, I looked at the recoil and I looked at all the plots available online. I was like, okay, you know, that's moderate recoil. It doesn't kick too bad. I can handle this. I got this. Nope, totally wrong. I don't know if I'm spoiled from those very low recoil Titanfall weapons or from my time with the assault rifles in this game, but my personal experience is that the recoil with this weapon is very high. It is somewhat vertical, so it does help you a lot to pull the recoil down. Unfortunately, it's not precise, so that doesn't drag to the left or to the right. It just kind of wobbles back and forth across the middle. You do get lesser recoil with grip. This is one of the weapons where grip is magnificently helpful. I was going to say enormously, but then I thought about how the definition of enormous is actually evil, and I got a little bit confused there. But that's beyond olden meanings of the word. We're not going to get into semantics today. Essentially, if you're going to run rapid fire, you're going to need the grip, and if you don't need any other kind of attachment, if you don't need an optical or a muzzle brake or something like that, grip is very, very nice on this weapon. It'll help you control the recoil. Recoil won't be a problem up close, but at longer ranges it can be bad. And another thing that's bad is that this weapon has awfully, sinfully, excruciatingly bad hipfire accuracy. If you go hipfire with this weapon, you're just throwing it out there to chance. That being said, I still do it just because I have flashbacks to COD 4 of me running around with the saw hipfiring people with steady aim on the map. Was it Vacant, if I'm not mistaken? Very cheap tactic. You can kind of sort of do something like that. You can hipfire people with this weapon. That is a doable tactic, but you need to be really, really close. You basically have to be barrel stuffing them, and then it'll work fine, but you can't hipfire at ranges like assault rifles and submachine guns. It has to be just point blank for it to work, so I would avoid hipfire when you can. Aim down sights time is slow at 0.35 seconds or 350 milliseconds, however you want to think about it. That is slower than anything in the game except for the sniper rifles. That's slower than SMGs, slower than assault rifles. It's slower than some SMGs plus an assault rifle. It's just really slow aim down sights time, so you're not going to get that quick reaction snap to target, you know, snap to somebody's head and body without the advent of quick draw, which is why I run it on the more aggressive class that we're going to go over in a little bit. But do keep in mind that this is not a high reaction weapon and that the aim down sights time is very slow. Another thing that's very slow is the name of the game in the Ameli. It's a big, heavy weapon. It's the weapon of Rambo, not actually, but you know what I mean. It's a big gun. Is that your movement speed is 80%. That seems like, okay, you know, 80% is fine. You know, that's 8/10. Comparatively, that's the same speed as running around with a Maz or a rocket launcher or a riot shield or something like that. Do you like how fast you move with the riot shield? Probably not. Then you probably won't like how fast you move with the Ameli. Even my sprinting speed with the Ameli is about the same as some other people's walking. So when you use this weapon, bear in mind you're going to be moving very, very slow. Speaking of slow, we're just going to hammer home the slowness today. The reload time is between 7 and 8 seconds if you want to go through the whole animation, full or empty, you know, one mag in or not, that one bullet in or not, it doesn't matter. The reload cancel time, the time at which you can sprint forward or YY and cancel, is still 5 seconds. That is extremely slow. If I'm not mistaken, that is the slowest reload time in all of Call of Duty Ghosts. This is the slowest reloading weapon in the game. So if you get caught reloading and you know you need to just do it fast or in a jam or something, you're going to be up a creek. You really need to be careful. You need to conserve your ammunition a little bit more. I mean, I know you have 100 rounds in the magazine, which is what we're going to talk about next, and if you run extended mags, it's 150, but if you get caught out and you really need to reload and people are coming for you, it's going to take a long time. So do be careful, though with 100 round magazines and a huge, you know, reserve amount of ammunition, I never really had a problem with this or with running out of ammunition. When it came to judging the iron sights, they are fairly obtrusive sights. They're not what I would classify as being beautiful sights, but they can be used up close. Close to medium range, I didn't have a problem with them. You could probably give me a flat, you know, piece of iron that blocks my target entirely, and at close to medium range I could use it, so that isn't saying a whole lot, but they're usable if you don't really feel like you need the optics, so that's just my take on that. That's subjective here on In-Depth. Wall penetration, very high, or about the highest in the game, as a matter of fact, same as the sniper rifle, so the armor penetrating rounds, I wouldn't really use them unless you know you're going to be wall banging a lot, or if you just have to kill targets that are wearing ballistic vests, because it already shoots through walls pretty well. If I'm not mistaken, I do have a few wall bangs in this episode of In-Depth, so that's another thing to keep in mind, another benefit to the weapon to counteract some of the slowness. As for how I would rate this weapon, I would say that you need to do one or two things with this weapon, and there's no in between. You need to get right up in their face and spray them with rapid fire, close quarters engagement, get that 2-shot to kill, and use that N-1 formula for the rapid fire, because you know the first shot's instant and then your time to kill is just the time between the first and the second shots, right in their face. Very, very brutal. Or you poke at them at long ranges. You use the relative accuracy of burst fire and foregrip along with something like a thermal sight and poke at them at long ranges. In medium range combat, this is going to lose to assault rifles and some submachine guns just because of the mobility and aim down sights kind of reaction time being very slow. You can't really do that, but in close quarters combat, you can get those 2 shots in real quick, you know, or hip fire them. And at long ranges, you can just suppressing fire them and it works very well, but avoid medium range. My 2 class recommendations, which you've already seen both of in the gameplay, are diametrically opposed to each other. Number 1 is with grip and rapid fire. Rapid fire, this is my close quarters combat. I use rapid fire so that I can kill people quickly in the 2-shot range. Grip helps keep the recoil under control. Grip does not cancel rapid fire, unfortunately, but it does keep it somewhere within the realm of sanity. On this class, I use all of the speed and reaction perks. And actually, I build it basically like an assault rifle. I'm running something like quick draw and ready up and stalker. I'm also using focus and hardline and all these sort of perks so that I can run really, really fast and just come in there and aim down sights. I did not have room for lightweight. You can run some other sort of stuff. I would recommend specialist on this gun because it's a very, very risky class. The other class that I would recommend using is the long range poke class. I would recommend you use the thermal optics or the thermal hybrid optics, and you can either go for foregrip or muzzle brake. In this case, I decided to go with just the muzzle brake to add some extra range to it. And you're going to want to run all resistance perks, and you're going to say, okay, well, what are resistance perks? Resistance perks are, you know, blast shield, attack resist. Then you can run focus so that your sight doesn't get wobbled around when you shot, and then you also want to run ICU. I keep ready up just because I think that's one of the most useful perks in the game, but you want to make yourself immune to grenades, flashbangs, and immune to flinch, recoil, fast health regen. You're basically making yourself about as Juggernaut as you can be without actually being the Juggernaut, and you do not want to get in close range engagements with people. You want to stay far away from them and poke them down and hose them down and just kind of harass and suppressing fire, and it works very, very well. Well guys, that's all for this episode of In-Depth. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that you learned something useful. If you'd like to check out the previous episode, that's going to be on the TAC-12 shotgun. You can click the box on the left, that'll open a new window. If you'd like to check out the next episode, that's going to be on submachine gun buffs. What? They've been buffed? Yes, they have. You can click that box, it'll open in a new window when it's live. As always, if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to check out my fonts, sponsors and down in the description. Like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.
Enemy coming out of the east! SATCOM active.